All right, you guys ready?
No, I'm never ready.
Same.
Walter, I don't.
Mhm.
You never responded to me, which means I never actually sent you the prompt, which means you're going into this blind, which is your fault.
Shotgun round, baby. Let's go.
So read the
Or
prompt.
maybe if you ever sent me the prompt,
let me just put a
I
sweater
would
on.
have
I'll be right back.
remembered. No, you must be cold.
Bro, I texted you to let me know if you were free on
You know the funniest
Tuesday.
thing?
On Tuesday, bro.
I got my schedule on Tuesday. I was at work. It was like maybe 3 hours in. They finally gave me my schedule. I was like, I should text Gio, and I never did.
What a bitch. Anyway, take a look at the prompt. We're gonna get started here.
I'll get blocked.
Bro,
Where's it at? Is it? This
it's
one up here?
literally in the chat.
I'm not gonna look at it.
Okay. So, this week I wanted
What?
to.
Why is our prompt that Mirror's Edge is $20 on EA?
$30 for the DLC.
And $5 for Catalyst. That's a very weird prompt, Gio. I need an explanation here.
God damn it.
$50 per
I
prompt.
can't take you anywhere, bro. Anyway, I wanted to get you guys in here and just talk about the art that you guys do. And art is a very broad topic, and so we actually have a very large
Shit, Kelly draws.
I was moving a bowl out of my
different
way.
kind of
I
art.
actually consider the sculpture of 3 dirty food bowls on my desk art.
I mean, someone paid like $100,000 for a banana duct taped to a wall. So
It's true. And then somebody ate it directly after.
this is 100% true story.
Yeah.
Anyway,
He ate it with the peel on.
Oh no.
The
anyway.
absolute legend.
The legend himself. All right. So this is more, I guess, linear than we've been doing it in the past, but
Holy crap.
what?
This is nice.
Are you good?
Yo,
Walter, what are you eating?
I wish I was eating. I was eating. I had a burrito. It was huge. I only had.
All I had was Costco pizza.
Bro, I'm running on like 4 hours of sleep. Let's get this money.
Okay. Then let's do it then.
Yeet.
Yeet. So I mean, why don't we just go down the line?
Did you welcome the nice people to our podcast?
No. That's Nick's job, but he's not here.
All right, everybody. My name is Anwa. Welcome to the CCTV podcast. It is a beautiful Friday eve, unless you're somewhere else. I'm sorry. Oh, well. But welcome to the podcast. On today's cast, we got Gio.
Hello.
Say freaking hi right now.
Oh my God.
Kelly
Hi.
and Pixel. I don't know your name, but I'll call you Pixel.
Hi.
Hi.
Are you okay? Why are you so scared?
My voice cracked.
It's your profile picture. It's intimidating.
I am a man.
This baby smile.
Anyway,
welcome,
Gio.
everyone.
I'm sorry. I just
Basically today we're gonna talk about art. We're gonna talk about some of the art that some of the members of our community do. Maybe we'll give some advice if we get that far down the list. But let's just go. Pixel, why don't we start with you?
The actual artist.
The conventional artist.
Conventional.
Just introduce yourself. How you started art, where you picked it up, stuff like that.
Well, my name is Pixelx, but real name Edward. Art for me, it actually started when I was just a little wee lad, baby, and
How
at first I didn't really.
How we talking?
Wee.
About
Serious conversation.
We need numbers, damn it.
The
about
numbers, Mason.
about 5 years old,
About 5. Thank you.
Prime age is a start, right?
and at first I didn't like it, but then I realized I'm left-handed, so I liked it.
Oh,
You didn't realize it. That's hysterical. You're like, wow, I'm really bad at art, and like, also, why is my handwriting really bad?
Exactly.
That is
And why does it
that is
feel like really-
hysterical.
That
that is
is-
so
it looks
funny.
like chaotic neutral reasoning.
Was it
ever.
someone just like, maybe you should try writing with your other hand, and you did it, and it was like so much better, or like
No, it was like I had an epiphany at that moment. Like I was writing with my right hand, and I was like, I wonder what will happen if I draw with my left. I did, and I was like, bro.
That is absolutely hysterical.
That's
oh my
so
god,
funny.
that is so funny.
That's so good.
T-
And why? What kind of got you into it?
And
You're like my left hand, bro. That's
That's
what I mean.
amazing that you could actually write without being in pain. You're like, you know what? I'm gonna try this drawing thing out now.
yeah.
like, yeah, I just discovered everything is good when you're left-handed. Yeah, do everything left-handed. Beat meat left-handed. Chop wood
my
left-handed.
God.
What are you talking about? I was talking about beef.
Art.
Oh, we got beat.
Okay, at first, when I drew, it was mostly like regular shapes, like circles and triangles.
Perfect way to start.
Like I had a fat body of a circle and then a circle head and just triangle shoes.
Oh.
They were just
No
obtuse.
legs. Like
That's
no
about
legs.
that's about where I am artistically currently.
Yeah, me too.
Like no legs, no arms. They had a fat Raymond effect.
Nice.
But I think when I got into elementary, I kind of stopped for a while. I don't know why. It wasn't until I got into middle school that I started going back into it.
It's the trauma of the American school system.
Yeah. It basically kills
Yeah,
creativity.
It does. It's designed to do that.
I mean, hey, it forced me to cheat, so.
Full offense, American education system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We'll send it.
During middle
Send
school, during middle school, I had this idea to make comics because, like, growing up, I kind of like reading like Captain Underpants and Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Bro.
Fine.
It was the shit back then. Like,
It was.
oh, dude, you got the new edition? Yeah, I just got it from the library. Oh,
I got it from the Scholastic Book Fair, bro.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Oh,
sick.
Biblioteca.
You spend your mom's money with that? Oh,
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Hell
like,
yeah,
Mom!
I did. Hell yeah, I did. And when she said to bring her back change, I'd be like, oh, yo, it was $15 exactly. But actually, I bought a cool ass eraser.
I remember this one pen that I bought from the book club or fair, and it had sort of like a Rubik's Cube effect.
Oh,
And
Uh-huh.
it was so cheaply made that I moved the pieces, it just fell apart.
That doesn't
My
surprise me.
my favorite were the ones that like have the different clickers that you can click down the different colors.
Oh, I always
That
wanted
like
one
none
of
of
those.
them worked very well, but like it was so cool that you could do it. Yeah.
Like I saw someone use them, and I'm like, wow, they're going places.
Yeah.
So developing my style.
Hold on, no, wait, we need to get to the other two first. We're not doing this all in one shot.
We're doing it one shot.
Oh.
Let's go.
You gotta wait your turn, damn it.
Cut.
Cut up hand to chip.
Gio, take that out. Take that out of the shot. Take that out of the shot.
Yeah. Well, in
Cut
post
to
we'll
commercial.
cut that.
Cut to
Yeah.
commercial.
Yeah.
I want the
Beep.
like elevator music. Like we'll be right back. Like.
That can be arranged.
But yeah,
Cool. Very
that's
interesting.
how it started.
What about you, Kelly?
Yeah,
When
Kelly,
and
what do
why?
you draw?
When and why you start? No.
I am the chaotic
No!
neutral of this place.
I'll mute you, bro.
Well, you can't do that, can you? Oh wait, no, you're the leader of this. You can.
Okay. Well, like I remember really distinctly the first poem that I wrote that like I was actually like an actual amalgamation of words that made sense and not like random scribbling on a page with a crayon. Uh, and I'd never done poetry before. Like I'd never thought like, oh yeah, I could do this. And then I was like 10 years old. It was right after my 10th birthday. It was like in the week between my birthday and Christmas. And my parents were like furiously getting ready for Christmas and I was not helping. And I like wrote this I wrote a poem. There was a book that I was reading at the time that I was really into, and I don't remember what the name. I think it was called Esperanza Rising or something like that. It was really cool.
Never
And
heard of it.
It sounds like the most like literate book possible for someone who does not to be reading that high of a grade. It's like I read War and Peace when I was 3.
Look at me, I'm such a bookworm.
okay, look. No, but and it had this whole thing with like the uh Animal Kingdom Tree of Life sort of thing, and I like that was kind of I based my first poem like on that. And then like my dad was like, "Hey, you're like kind of good at this, small
Reading?
human that I am raised." And I um after that I was like, "Well, can I make money doing this?" And he goes, "No, but you can have a career doing it." And I was like, "Oh, solid." so, um
Your
so
difference?
I
There is a difference. One
well,
doesn't
you
have
could
money
do it,
involved.
but you won't make a living. And so I just started writing. Like I would write. I didn't write a lot like in elementary school. I think I would just write. Like I was really into writing. I was really into writing essays. I was that kid that
Did
like
you have
all
a
of you
good
hated.
handwriting?
I did. I've never had illegible handwriting,
Oh.
Not same.
but I've never had like that perfect girl handwriting. That's
That
like
is so
nice,
small.
like nicely small and curly. Like I've never had that. I almost exclusively write in cursive that looks exactly like my grandmother's. So like it looks really pretty, but it's completely illegible to anybody who reads it. That's what I write in now.
It's
Like
Dr. Scribbles.
yeah, but like when I was growing up, I had like very clear but like larger handwriting that was kind of spidery. But like I never like I didn't do like the hearts over the eyes or anything. Like I had a friend who did that, and every time I saw her handwriting, I was just like, anyway. But the like in
I
like
just
junior high and high school, we're not going to talk about it. That in junior high and high school, I started writing a little more, and like when I was a freshman in high school, I started writing this really long story that I still have in a binder somewhere, and it was like 204 pages. But like I handwrite things, so it was like 204 pieces of binder paper. Like it was a lot. I don't know, and I wrote it like kind of the first 2 years of high school, and then I decided that I was done with it. Because that was the first thing. I was like, yeah, I could do poetry or I could do a fucking full-length novel. I don't know where my brain was at. So I like tried to do long stories after that, and then like just recently I've started doing short stories because like I think they're a little more like I wanted to look at the genre a little more because it's somewhere in between. So, but like in high school, people actually told me like, "Hey, you're pretty good at this. Like you should try to do this." And it was never something that was discouraged. Like my dad was an English major first. He has several. He went back to school several times, but he majored in English first. And my mom has always loved, reading and the arts and things. It was never something that was like, yeah, you could write, but you have to do it on the side. Like you have to become like a real thing first. And I never had that. So, but I think it comes from like that fact that I love to read. And I was like, hey, I really want to be someone who like can do this. So
Cool.
back to you, Walter.
Oh, it's back?
Yeah.
Shady. Wow.
Me?
To the frame.
Well, when I started and why I started my art. For those who don't know, I make music. I make really chill lo-fi in my bedroom at the unconventional hours of the night.
It's true. I've
No.
watched some of your fucking 2 a.m. streams because I'm up at 2 a.m.
It's prime time, baby.
It's prime time for the vibes, bro.
Literally, I was driving home today. I was like, I don't gotta work till 2 p.m. tomorrow. You know what that means? 3
4
a.m.
a.m.
music stream. It's 3:36 and we're going.
There's a
But
there's a difference between being very late 4 a.m. and being very early 5 a.m.
Exactly.
Yeah.
now you're thinking with portals. Yes. But let me say, all right, when did I start my art? I would say later than most of you guys did. I got into music like heavily, maybe about sophomore of high school.
Imagine he started music when he was a baby.
I would be
Yo, they gave me that
Oh,
xylophone, bro. Fire. You know the rainbow
mean-
one?
Was actually throwing down beats in the womb.
He
I
was
was-
spitting true facts on Kids Bop.
Pumping
Walter's a Kids Bop kid.
Oh my god.
oh god.
A little bit of an aside, when does a Kids Bop kid stop being a Kids Bop kid?
I
Like,
think we
when
have
are
to
they
use, like,
legally required to not be a Kids Bop kid anymore?
adult bop. No, I think
Pretty sure
you
that's
have
just
to use the method of like kids next door. As soon as you hit teen, you're out.
shit. Anyway,
Oh.
And you get
anyway.
like freaking like interrogated or whatever, like anti-assimilated.
Oh my god. Anyway, before we get too deep down that rabbit hole,
It's a different story for a different
That's-
day.
yeah, that's
the
a
dark history
totally-
of kids next door.
Yeah.
Write
Yeah.
that down, Gio. That's a great idea, actually. But I started, sophomore of high school, and it was by accident. I think like our school was just trying to find ways in the computer class for kids just to be creative besides just drawing. So they gave us a whole bunch of outlets to use to make music and whatnot. Not music, but I'm sorry, just be creative, art, drawing, writing, I don't know, film if you want to do that. And one of them, they found one website because our school couldn't afford like Ableton, Fruity Loops. Okay, I'm not gonna say that one because that just sounds really misleading. It's called Acid, but it's
Oh,
no, we
man.
used it. We used
software.
acid in high school. It was great.
Yeah, for those who don't know, it is the most like strangest sounding audio station to use. Oh yeah, I used to use Acid when I was a kid. Like,
Yeah.
excuse me?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
It explains everything else.
Bunch of 7, 8-year-olds learning how to make music and use an acid. Like
Man, I wish I was a 90s kid.
But from that day, I fell in love with it, dude. Like, I think only if you happen to look at I think the classic album, one of the songs in there is from when I was a sophomore in high school.
Which one?
Aw.
I don't remember. I have to look. And it's been edited, but I think W Squared is one of those from when I was younger.
I mean, that's the one I
Well-
use in my videos.
Little baby wall.
Also,
Wait.
another aside,
Hmm?
just I'm getting it on recording right now. I was the one that suggested Walter call his throwback album classic.
You did. That's
So
true.
I get the royalties,
You get the
or at least part of them.
Oh, you wanted royalties?
This podcast is just audio evidence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let,
Okay, we're
let
done.
it be known. Let it be known. I'm like, bro, this is all your old music. You
I
should
think I
call it
legit
classic.
texted you. I was like, bro, I need an album name.
And
You sent
that's
me,
what
like,
that is
5.
exactly what I told you.
I think like classic. I was like,
Oh,
we're using it.
shit.
Mhm.
That's it.
But yeah,
That's it.
I'm
That's the
just
vibe.
saying it so it's on recording somewhere that it was my idea.
So when
gonna
Walter
do-
makes it really big,
Yeah.
we're like,
What
how
we're
did you
gonna
get the idea for this name? Which is
You gotta
something that
watch
they
our
asked.
podcast to figure out.
Yeah.
Oh, I got it from some dude named Gio.
so some asshole that I used to know in high school.
One of the little people.
What are the little people out there?
I'd be so mad at you, man.
Why would
Some
I?
dude with glasses. I don't know.
Fuck.
My old friend thinks it was like Greg or something. I don't know.
I would actually burst into
Oh.
tears. I would actually
Oh.
just start
It would be
crying.
it'd be that cat meme, like Walter would be the cat, Gio would be the woman screaming at the cat, and I'd be the woman standing next to her.
But that's
It's really cool,
yes,
man.
yeah, I got into it because of that, but like, and like it's obvious if I make music, I listen to a lot of music to the point where it's probably bad.
There's no
I
such
listen
thing as
to
too
way
much music, man.
you have a point. But I would say the reason why I got into it was because kind of like how Kelly had her moment of like, can I make a career out of this and whatnot? I used like one of my favorite, like my biggest inspirations of all time is Daft Punk.
Yeah.
And
Ooh.
I was like, can I like I want to like be able to do that when I get older and just have a job like that. It looks like the funnest thing to do in the world is just to make music that people love professionally. And I actually considered being like Daft Punk where I could actually hide my identity, but I wasn't smart enough to do that at the right time. By this point, I can't even hide my identity.
Yeah,
Everyone knows who I am.
You're
Figure-
screwed,
Everyone's like, yo, that's Walter. It's like,
Yeah,
shit,
that's Walter.
I'm in too deep.
they found me out. But yeah, that's what really got me into like just finding stuff like that and the fact that it's so much fun. Like I just love to produce. People ask me like, occasionally they ask me like, why don't you rap? And I was like, I mean, I can, but I'd rather not. I'd rather make the music rap.
Can you do it right now?
Music.
I'm just
I
kidding.
actually thought
Don't
you.
do it right now.
I don't have the energy.
I actually thought you could rap.
Oh, I can. It's just I usually don't.
Uh,
Early.
He likes making the beats, not
I'm like making.
spitting
you
fire
rather-
to them.
Would you rather be a producer or like in the way that like Jay-Z produces for Kanye? Like makes the backbeat or used to rather. He doesn't do that anymore.
Yeah, he doesn't do that anymore. Somebody's calling my phone.
funny story about me.
No
I
way.
actually didn't know art could be a career choice. I
Oh.
thought I was gonna. I actually was settling for a dead end job as an engineer.
Oh yeah, that won't make you any money.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it
that's
wasn't.
going nowhere.
It wasn't until I got put into an animation class by mistake,
Oh
and I
my
was like, you know what? I like it.
I like this here.
Another.
This is nice.
Yeah.
But
People,
what was I saying?
this is a
Yeah.
topic that I wanted to get into at a later date, but people take for granted the importance of art jobs in our society. Like, take
Oh,
away
yeah.
music, take away books, take away movies and TV shows and all that, and there's no
Kind of
entertainment.
boring.
Exactly.
Did I just? No. We're
But
good.
that's a topic for another day. That's not really why we're here. But I just wanted to bring that up because you said about art jobs.
Mhm.
I'm not
Yeah,
gonna say anything because
You should say
I am
something.
about as artistically talented as a rock.
Not true.
So,
However,
See,
however,
your
No.
art is comedy.
I will
bro,
say.
not even.
Hold on. I will say of the three of us, Gio has had an impact on each of three of our arts. He named Walter's album. He is the main character in a Wild West story.
I would say you
That
just
I
name album. But, like,
And he commissioned Pixel's art of said Wild West story.
Took 3 months to do it.
But it's beautiful. In fact, if you are watching this podcast right now, my icon is Pixel's rendition of my character. So you are involved in all of our art pieces.
he was
Except
an
for
artistic
Walter.
comedian.
Well, no, he named Walter's album.
Walter-
You said,
Wal-
like, one of the
W
driving
W
forces
squared-
of my music.
Yeah.
W squared is also the outro for every single one of my YouTube.
I think Gio's the only person, well, besides my parents and some people, but who's probably given me the most support and
Yeah.
like
Oh, definitely.
what's the word I'm gonna use?
Oh no.
Well, no, it's a good word. It's a
Sweats
good word.
nervously.
But like not forced me to, but you give me the energy to be like, yo, Walter, you should. There's an album, man.
Oh yeah, well I made
He's
I
the
gave you
catalyst.
so much. Well,
He's
you
the
and I
catalyst.
you and I give each
Catalyst.
other a lot of crap because you're like, bro, when's that next YouTube video coming out? I'm like, bro, I'm working on it. And then once that video comes out, I'm like, bro, when's the next album? When's the next single drop? And he's like, bro, I'm working on it.
We're
Yeah, it's back and
Yeah.
forth.
trying to get some
I
this
mean,
year.
If anything, I enjoy editing videos. I think it's a lot of fun. But
You know that's an art, right?
I know, but the way I do it isn't necessarily art.
Yes.
No,
It's
no, that's
obsessive
art.
muttering at 3 a.m., which
That
I guess is art. So.
But
It's an art. Anything
Yeah.
your comedy is art. You're really funny. You're like one of the funniest people I know.
That's true, yeah.
Okay, I disagree. We'll move on. Well, let's just go straight into developing your style. And I guess if you want, you can also talk about like your proudest piece, because that would probably incorporate your style. So Pixel, we'll start with you again.
Where do I begin?
Well, see, I was 5 and I didn't know I was left-handed.
Pixel's like a kind of like an
Okay.
Art Deco
Pixel,
kind
just
of
so
guy.
you know, if you ever, hopefully you will not run for the hills after this podcast, but if you do hang out with us again, you know that we're never gonna let that go, right?
It's like, have you checked your left hand?
I get that often.
Okay, all right.
Like people look at me writing with my left hand and they're like, "What? You're left-handed?"
Oh, no, it's not. No,
Yeah,
it's not
bruh.
the left-handed thing. It's that you tried to be right-handed until you realized it wasn't the right one.
Yeah.
That's hysterical. Anyway,
What is this heresy?
Okay, so my art style, it was like, as I said before, like geometrical, just circles and triangles. And it wasn't until middle school where I sort of developed it to have some sort of anatomy, but it was still pretty crap. Looking back at it now, like the head was still a circle, and like I still gave them arms and legs, but they were so disproportional that I'm like, I used to be proud of this, didn't I?
Oh.
So, and this was before I even liked anime or mangas and stuff like that. So I was trying so hard to copy a Western, like American style of drawing, and I sucked at it. Didn't know how to do it. It wasn't until I met my friend, where he introduced me to anime, is where I sort of got like inspirations to like sort of incorporate it into my style. And so over a set period of time, I I went sort of in adopting like a manga sort of way, watching a bunch of videos and stuff like that. And I think last year is when I got a figure drawing class near my college.
Hmm.
And it wasn't until then where I had an epiphany. Mix both manga and Western style. And that's
Big
my
brain.
Now we
and that's
call
my
it
that's
manga.
my art style right now.
Nice.
That's anime and Western.
hey, I personally think your style is super cool. I love the way all of your
Yeah, I
pieces
love
turn
your
out.
style. So I don't watch a lot of anime at all.
Oh no.
I've seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, and we are currently like 3 episodes away from finishing Full Metal Alchemist, Brotherhood. And are there different styles of anime drawing?
Yes.
Or like anime style?
Well, here's the thing.
Like the art style, not like, I know there are different styles of shows, but like, are there?
What's it?
There anime
Yes.
sort of has like this set characteristic category, like
With like the big eyes, right?
Big
Like
eyes.
God.
sometimes.
It's-
Sometimes.
Okay.
But when I watched this one video on how to draw like anime stuff, the guy gave me some good advice. He said, when you're drawing anime, just know there is no set way on how to draw anime.
Yeah, okay.
Just do you, and just watch a bunch of stuff to grab which part of the face, arms, or design that you like most and just put it in. And that's basically anime.
Like,
Because I ingest most of the anime content I get through memes that Geo sends me, that I have no context for and are usually somewhat unexpected and a little inappropriate. So
Hentai.
he does not send me hentai. He sends that to. Uh,
yeah. I mean, if I were to say art styles, like I could compare, like, Full Metal Alchemist, which occasionally uses chibi figures, which is a
Yeah.
different style of anime.
Well, they use that for comical relief and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, and also
realistically,
the
a
little
shonen
girl, the little oh god, what is her name?
Oh
Oh, yeah, I know
god,
what you're talking
the
about.
one that got
With the
blended in
panda.
with the dog.
With the panda?
No,
Yeah, I
no, no,
forget
no,
her
no,
name.
no, 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 not that one. The
Ooh,
the girl from with
shame.
the little panda cat thing.
I forget her name.
Okay,
I
I'm
guess it's
not
just a
that
Exactly what you're
far
panda.
in.
talking about.
I'm not that far in.
Here, let me see
Oh,
here.
okay. Well, sorry. Yeah, but they do use it for comic relief, like when a extreme
Oh,
emotion is happening,
Mei
when
Mei
somebody tells
Chang.
Edward to drink milk. Yeah, her. She has the big. She has the big puppy dog eyes,
Big.
and
All
like
right.
her panda is drawn very, or
Mhm.
animated rather, very.
Yeah.
I don't know the correct term for it, but I would say like
Animated?
it's
It is animated.
cutesy. Like it's drawn cutesy. Like it's
Adorable.
yeah,
Like
it's really cute.
like different styles, just different ways. Like Gurren Lagann is different from Fullmetal Alchemist, where Gurren Lagann is extremely colorful, while Gurren Lagann is very, I wouldn't say
Hmm.
black and white because it's in color, but it
Well,
kind
but
of
it's
replicates
very
like a World War II kind of vibe going there, where it's
yeah, yeah,
strict and straightforward.
yeah,
And then there's like the Naruto spin-off with Rock Lee, where it is just chibi 100% of the
yeah.
Mhm.
so yeah, there's different styles to it. It's
Okay.
just artists.
Another thing I noticed with anime is that it incorporates a lot of human anatomy, like
Oh
realistic.
yeah.
So if you
Oh,
try to compare that to like actual cartoons, no.
The only time you get that in Western culture is through comics, is when you actually get incorporate real
Yeah, like
like
Marvel and DC.
Marvel and DC's when real like physics come into life.
yeah.
It's just
That
physics can get.
and also some animes they draw them so realistic that they look like Japanese people, and that is also considered anime. I noticed.
Huh.
So the more Japanese they look, I guess the more anime it is. From
For
that,
instance,
that's what I discovered.
oh yeah, I think
Okay.
but I think the only Western quote unquote animes that are actually considered animes would be Avatar, which I you never know. I mean, yeah, I think Avatar, Boondocks, and Afro Samurai.
The way that Avatar was described to me, like the way that Elijah described Avatar to me was like the gateway drug.
Mhm.
Like
Oh
Avatar is
yeah,
weed,
It
and then like
was
you start moving on to harder stuff.
like
Fullmetal
my
Alchemist.
brother.
Yeah.
He watched one episode and he was hooked on Dragon
Uh,
Ball.
it, yeah. Like I just I like it. But yeah, I've only seen Avatar and most of Full Metal Alchemist
So
and
we,
Korra. I've seen Korra. I'm
so
sorry. Anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean
little
to.
bit of a tangent. I thought it
I
would.
like tangent.
I thought it would correct itself, and then it didn't. So I'm
Stepped
gonna.
on the wrong freaking mine,
I mean, to
Gio.
be fair, we were still talking about art styles, just not Pixel's
Yes,
particular
but
art style.
yeah, I thought it would drift back, but it did
Nope.
not. It drifted away. Anyway, that's
I was sharing the knowledge I
Yeah.
carried.
I'm aware.
Well, to
Let him
kind of-
express his art.
No. I'm not saying it was bad conversation. I'm just saying it's
How
not
dare
necessarily
you,
where we
Gio.
want to be. Before we go to Kelly, what do you think is your proudest piece this far?
Ooh. Let me look through the folder.
It's a folder.
Okay. I think I found it. Hold up. Where are you? Crap.
Right here.
Here we go. Here we go.
Oh,
Yeah, that one did turn out really cool. Oh, I should.
Like I was sort of
Oh, that one was awesome.
I was experimenting at the time with the colors, and I was so surprised how well they came out.
good.
I'm just like,
But-
bro, this dude's a Kiss fanboy.
Oh, see, like rock.
It's Piers from Pokemon.
Dude, I love your kiss.
I haven't played it yet.
Gio not playing Pokemon? That's wild.
No, not the new one.
That's what I mean.
Ree? Freaking normies.
Leave me alone,
I
bro.
can't afford a Switch.
Yeah,
Oh.
at least I have a Switch.
This freaking
Oh, damn, Gio.
this musician freaking
Wow, you gotta go
pay
that
grade
far,
is too
dude.
bad. I'm a starving artist, Gio. I don't get paid much.
We all.
Oh, yeah.
I just managed to get the Switch
That is
somehow.
okay. I do feel like really quickly, real actually this time. I feel like the term starving artist is like something that's been really like we've almost been like told like no, you want to be a starving artist because you want to be like a slave to your craft and you like it doesn't matter that you don't make money. Like you like that's you're only a real artist if you're like suffering for it. Like don't think that that's like why why would we not want to get paid?
That is the stupidest thing I have ever heard in my life.
Like, I've had people that go, "Oh, you so you wanna be a starving artist?" I'm like, "No, I don't, I wanna eat." Like,
I like food.
I don't know. I just always thought that was a really stupid
I I,
concept.
I
That's
don't want to
fair.
be a starving African children.
Yeah, like, I don't
Wow.
um,
It's realistic.
Fuck.
I don't
I'm desperate, but I'm not that desperate.
We
but,
gotta
like,
throw
yeah,
back
like,
dog. We'll be back.
why would I not yeah, I don't know.
But
I am,
I feel you
but
there. Like people
yeah,
tell me that it's like you can't make a career out of it,
yeah.
and I'm like, do I care? Yes,
Uh,
I do
Again,
care.
that comes back to the
Yeah.
whole job thing, but I do want to
Yeah,
talk
that's
about that
another
later down the line.
thing. I just wanted to say that about the term starving artist. I've always thought it was stupid.
Yes.
It is.
Um, um, Kelly, why don't you go? Because you went second last time.
Okay.
We're just gonna keep it
Um
consistent.
I mean, when I started, I was writing very like kid poems, like animals, and like I don't know, like you know about family or animals or like little kid thing. And then like I wrote when I was like 12. I wrote this. I think it was called Nighttime. I still have it somewhere.
Was it a
Um,
bedtime story?
it was not. So my so my whole life, I really hated being uh left alone. I'm an only child, and I do not like. I'm fine being on my own. Um, I don't like the idea of being left alone specifically. And so like nighttime was kind of like my first poem where I was like, oh, I could write about things that like I feel. like, um, and so like I it's basically like how scared I was at like specifically at night for the poem, because that's when it got the worst. But I'm not like afraid of nighttime. Like I'm not afraid of the dark. It's
That's fair.
specifically being left alone. And so like I wrote that and I showed my mom. I was like, "Mom, look, I made a thing." Like smiling really nicely, and she's reading this poem like, "I'm terrified of the darkness." Like it was really my mom was like, "Oh god."
My
And she
daughter's
said
not gonna be emo tonight.
yeah, no, she was like, "Okay." No, but it was she told me, she's like, "Hey, you should go show this to your dad. I think he would really like it. Like, I think
It's
this
just
is
traumatizing.
yeah, like, please get it away from me." No, she
Honey,
was
this is
really
beautiful.
supportive, and she was like, "Hey, this is really, really good." Like, I mean, like, your parents are
Not at
like,
all concerned.
you know, my parents are like, they're the typical like, "Oh, that's really nice, honey. You know, good job." Like, they always told me I could do a good job, but, like, this was my mom would, like, looked me in the eye and, like,
Tell your
said
father.
seriously, like, "This is good. Like, you
Oh,
did a like, this is really good." And I was like, "Oh, no." So
So you
oh
mean
uh
the other times were a lie?
yeah, right. I was like, "Oh, bless you." And so sorry. Um, and then so I started thinking like, well, if I can uh, I started doing that with like different emotions. So I'd read about being really happy. I'd read about being like really insecure, like as I got older. Um, and like eventually when I got to high school, it was very influenced by uh the relationships I had with people at the time. So like you can tell if like I wasn't having a good time with my friends or like there's a big shift and I'm not saying this cuz he's right behind me. But there is a big shift in the tone in my poetry after I started dating Alec. it becomes a lot lighter. Like not necessarily like super happy lovey-dovey, but it becomes a lot
Like,
lighter and a lot calmer.
like you're going places. This has been a good.
Yeah, like it becomes a lot, and so that's when I started thinking like I could focus specifically on relationships. I could I could write specifically about love and relationships. Which really fascinate me anyway. Um and so like throughout the rest of high school and college and even now, like that's what I try to focus on is like not necessarily romantic relationships, but and romantic love, but like relationships between people. Um and that's like that's how that's it developed because like there are so many different kinds of relationships and I wanted to try and capture all of them. Which will never happen unless I'll be writing for a very long time. but, but like it's really fascinating to me like how many different faces of love there are within one relationship. Um I think it's really really fascinating. Um and like also I morphed from poetry to I started out writing exclusively rhyming poetry, but that's really hard. And so
You
now
always
I
got
write
Oh.
not rhyming although I am very specific about it now. It does have a certain rhythm in my head that is not a discernible like poetry rhythm to anyone else, but like it's the way it sounds in my and I usually try to end on a couplet. That's like even though the rest of the poem doesn't rhyme, I usually try to end on a couplet.
Well,
explain that for the people like
what
me
is
who doesn't know what a couplet is.
A
exactly? I don't know
A
what that is either.
couplet is two lines, which the end word of
Oh,
those words
oh,
rhyme. Yeah, it's
That is
the
so
last two
English.
lines rhyme with each other. That's a
the
couplet.
N word goes in the poem.
The end
No.
end word.
Wow.
I mean, let's
Jesus.
hear like
Okay,
baby.
so and then I like I was I and then I like I do I used to get like really specific and I like every single poem that I wrote I would then copy onto my computer and like every single one of them had a different font. I don't do that anymore. Because I ran out of fonts. But like, um,
What's next? Sans.
Comic Sans, yeah.
Comic Sans. I think one of them is in Comic Sans.
Is
It's
that your
not.
proudest piece? Is that the one? Is
No,
that
that
the
is
best
not
one?
my proudest piece. No, 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 no,
Well,
no.
which one is if you can easily access it?
I don't know if it's the end all be all, like so far,
First
but
one
I
that comes to
am.
mind.
Huh?
The first one that comes to mind, like
I am actually really proud of Wild West. Uh, because I've written a lot of things for friends before, and never finished any of them. Like not like they didn't ask me to write something and I didn't finish it. Like I have written things about me and my friends, but I never finished them because I never felt like they were true enough to the characters. And I figured out this because I'm trying to write us like as we are, and that's really hard. Because you can never literally know someone as they are. That's impossible because you only know who they are to you. And so I just took us out of uh our context. And I put us in a context that none of us are familiar with. And that
and it
made it a
worked
lot
out.
easier. Yeah, and I'm really proud of Wild West. There are a couple of poems that I'm really proud of. Uh, there's one I name them, but I almost never remember what their names are. I am actually so the story I'm typing up right.
Okay.
Um, I am actually really happy with. I'm It's got a lot to do with my mom. So I'm gonna send it like directly to her, so she'll cry. And but I would say the one that I'm actually the most proud of is one that not a lot of people have actually read because it was a project that I did for school. But it's a collection of short stories called uh I don't remember what the collection was called. It was and have a pleasant tomorrow, which is a SNL skit on journalism. And the one that I loved the most was it was four short stories, and the last one was called "Do Androids Dream of Electric Crows?" Or do cyborgs dream of electric crows? Which is a play on "Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?" Which is the basis for the movie Blade Runner. Uh, but it had to do with like it was futuristic. It was people could fly. It was very Jetsons. It was it was I had so much fun with it, and it was a lot of fun, and I wish it had been a little better, but like at the same time I wouldn't change any of it. It's really I was really happy with it. So
Very cool.
yeah.
Mhm.
What about you, Walter? How did you get to where you are today?
Like
In terms of your
style wise?
terms of yeah,
Well,
Well,
I
what
would
kind
say,
of style do you have? Like techno?
I mean, well, I make electronic
Like,
music, so my stuff automatically kind of qualifies into EDM, but even EDM
get closer
is
to your
not
mic, bro.
well. I would say, like I would automatically be put into the bracket of EDM because I make my stuff electronic computer, but EDM is not a very specific title because EDM is more of a genre to a bunch of subs. Like if you were to put on lo-fi, yes, lo-fi would qualify as EDM, but you wouldn't say, "Oh, Skrillex is an amazing lo-fi artist," because it makes no sense and it's not true. There's at least no music. But for myself, I've always considered myself as a lo-fi producer. Yet at the same time, a lot of the times I don't always make lo-fi. If you heard many of my albums, sometimes they're not lo-fi, sometimes it's dub, sometimes it's drum and bass, sometimes it's like glitch hop, to which I have yet to give myself a specific style. Um, so it's a little hard for me to think about it in the thought of what's my style, I would say, honestly. Generally, it's just I like to make music for the people. That's my style.
I mean, you don't necessarily have to define your style, just how did you get to it?
Um, I don't even know. I just kept making stuff.
You know what? That's a totally valid answer.
My way of doing it is, as long as I'm having fun with it, I really don't mind what I make. I'm not trying to fall into a genre. I just want to enjoy what I'm doing.
Hey, that's
That's
totally fair.
why I'd rather be an independent artist than signed to a label, as nice as it would be.
like, what is the process into making like your music?
Oh, oh,
Like,
well,
do you
it
just
has
think
to
of
be past 2 a.m.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, at 3 a.m. Walter sits bolt upright.
And then vibes for an hour and a half.
And then
oh,
he
Probably goes to
crashes.
bed.
I was thinking like, what kind of beats does he think in his head? But no, he's laid up and down.
Ugh.
um, I can actually explain that. I was like literally today, I was driving home and like how I said, I actually wanted to do some like make some music. Me going home and thinking of what it would be is usually just me making sounds of what I would have produced because I can barely play the piano. I just know notes. So it's more of me humming in my head, like, oh yeah, this would sound great. And doing the drum sound, of course, added on there. And just thinking of how can I produce this, what kind of, cool samples can I find or something like that. And even like a lot of my music is not exactly, I would say it's inspired like just from other songs I hear where I say like this would sound cool this way or different. And it's where a lot of my just style comes from is just me listening just to the work. So
Hey, that's totally fair. And then,
yeah, like that.
well,
mm,
which
mm.
which piece are you most proud of? I gotta know.
Oh gosh, let me look this up. Let me open this. My most proud piece, gosh, would
So,
have to be.
did you actually say something or did you cut out?
I cut out, but I'm thinking about what would my most proud thing be. Let me look through my folder
Gotta
of
dig.
separate albums. I would say I think my last it's in between my last album, Carnival, and Vibes. Those were like most two of the most fun. I think actually, I think Carnival was by far my favorite album that I've created. And I
Carnival
think
was great.
Carnival was good.
I think But what single song would you say you're most
Definite.
proud of?
Oh gosh, probably Daylight. Daylight and I think Daylight and the actual title track Carnival. Those two in between. I think mainly so Daylight. Daylight I think was one of the songs I've worked the longest amount of time on. I would say because if I remember correctly, I started making the track Daylight. I think a year before it even came out. Stopped on it completely. Didn't like what I had. Came back to it when I was working the album itself and decided, you know what, I can work with this and completed the song. And luckily, I was able to meet some really cool people to get vocals actually on top of there. Because one, I prefer to make stuff and I don't like the sound of my voice when I sing. So I needed somebody that could actually vocalize rather than myself. But yeah, so definitely I think Daylight would be that top
I
track that I had.
I was literally gonna say Daylight's probably my favorite track of yours.
It's a really
It's it's fucking lit.
more to the fact that I really need to hire people to do vocals for me too. Kind of go in the show that it's good to collect. A
Not to
little
sound mean or anything, but I never heard
roast me.
any never heard any sample of your music.
If you
Oh,
look
So
up
definitely.
Awa Beats on Spotify, iTunes Store, Google Play, YouTube, Pandora,
Anywhere.
Spotify, not
Yeah,
Spotify,
got those.
SoundCloud. I already said Spotify.
We even got like
Awa
foreign country ones.
Awa Beats.
Jeez,
Literally
you really what's it called? Like Napster, like that one that they use for
Awa Beats. That's the bro right
me.
there.
Shout.
I
We're gonna shout out everyone.
was gonna say like he has everything but SoundCloud.
No.
I took down my SoundCloud
Oh,
because I
did you
wasn't about the
actually?
clout. No kidding.
You're like too much bad rep on there.
Sorry, I almost just tipped my.
They see that you have a SoundCloud and they're
No.
like, nah, he's just
No.
he's just one of those.
I would
Alright.
actually get a shirt that says "Not Your App SoundCloud."
That sounds great. All right, then we're gonna actually combine the last two.
Hey Jay, what's your most proud work?
My most oh shit.
Now, you do
yes.
have a style, Geo, though. I
Yeah, you
love
do.
your style.
No,
Your videos have a certain style.
Yeah, and it's definitely evolved. Like my first couple of videos are drastically different from the
Are
videos I make
hilarious.
nowadays.
Hey, you.
Shut the fuck up.
What are you doing here? You
I
can't
thought
fight
that
all
was
three of us.
I thought that was
Gio.
so funny. I thought that was so
It is
so funny.
It is the most funniest thing still to this day. It is hence why I reference it.
Yeah.
Because yes, it was cringy
But
a
it's
little bit.
so
but dude,
it was so cringy.
I
Okay,
died
if,
laughing.
So
if you really did hate it,
I would have
like,
taken it down.
yeah.
It
Pro-
is funny, dude.
Probably
That's why
my
I say Geo's art is comedy.
proudest work. Well, I
I swear to
really
God,
liked
if you say the Disneyland
Titanfall
video,
story?
I will kill you where you stand.
which one?
I
Which one?
said if you say the Disneyland video, I swear to
Okay,
God,
That's
that
the
was
best.
you where
that
you stand.
I
That was
had-
my favorite one.
That was the, okay. That to be fair, I had so much fun making that, recording for it,
have
and
to, like-
editing it. I had a great time. I understand that it is the dumbest. That is easily one of the dumbest things on my channel, but it is one of the things that I had the most fun making. The dirty,
Everyone was looking at him
the
like
dirty
he was
looks,
weird.
the dirty looks, the disappointment of my parents, the disappointment
humiliation of your
all of my
brother
peers,
filming you.
all of my peers. Everyone has seen this video. I do not care. I loved recording that video,
Like,
and
you have
and editing the video. If like I put in a lot of work editing the video, getting all of the frames down. So every time the video cuts, it's actually the dance transitions seamlessly, or as seamless as I could get it with recording on a phone. So
I'm looking at it right now too, dude,
Or-
and you just have to appreciate the smile on Geo's face. This
No,
whole
when
It
I
never
s-
goes
Obviously
away.
having a
when
great
I
time,
when
yeah.
I say I had so much fun recording that video, I genuinely 100% mean it. But I think in terms of just my proudest video, I think. Let me just do one more scroll through.
I do gotta say, like, compared to like my best friend Kyle, Gio was like probably the second whitest person I know.
Bro. At least I'm not okay. At least I'm not the most white person you know. That would kind of hurt.
No,
Would hurt a
I'm
lot.
whiter.
No,
I
Gio takes the cake.
honestly think that my Reach video is probably my favorite. I loved
Reach
the
was
intro of that, and I was so hyped for Reach to come out. So I liked that video.
I
It
like
was
your
good.
Titanfall series actually, dude. That was good.
You know, I'm actually gonna start recording stuff again once we move into the new house. That's just a bit of an aside. I want to start recording like actual gameplay and uploading it, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I think in terms of most fun or Orange Justice, but I really liked my Reach video.
Orange
I'm watching it right now.
Bro, I I don't deny that it was cringy and
It's not cringe. It's epicness.
anyway, we're gonna move on.
What are you doing here?
Shut up.
Hello, internet. It's so good.
We're gonna pardon me. We're gonna combine the last two because we are starting to run out of time. So what are some of the things that you struggle with in your particular medium, and what are some do's and don'ts if you were to give some advice to someone looking to enter that style? And we'll start with Pixel again.
All right. The one thing an artist struggles is himself. The motivation.
Poetic thing I've heard all day.
You got some competition, Kelly. but basically, like trying to find the motivation to draw or just finding the time to draw is mostly the struggle of an artist within my field. That, and also like if you want to do commissions, it's sort of like, am I overpricing people? Is this too cheap? It's like you don't really want to feel like you're ripping them off, but you don't want to feel ripped off at the same time.
And I imagine that's really difficult.
Exactly.
Yeah. I couldn't even imagine.
Like I'm looking at my art style, I'm like, is it worth $20? Maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically finding motivation, being dismotivated, or I don't have the right word, but something around there. And if an artist is also competitive,
They're
like,
coming for you.
oh, you can hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's loud.
Hide the weed.
you hear a window shatter in the background.
So I slammed a 40 on the ground and I yelled, "Dad!"
Set my phone like flying. Oh.
No, I can see where that's a major struggle. But,
Okay.
Oh yeah.
That and the field is competitive, very competitive.
Yeah.
So what I would recommend for anyone trying to get into this field is try to be inspired, but not dismotivated by other people's art style. 'Cause
Demotivated.
it's kind of hard to be both inspired and demotivated at the same time, because you're like, wow, he draws really good, but I don't think I'll be able to do that.
Yeah.
That's kind of the kind of reason why
It's
some people say,
disheartening to look at someone who draws really well and be like, shit, I don't know if I'll ever get there.
yeah,
And
a lot of
to
people.
anyone too, like for all, just regardless of your art style, like how you're saying, like be inspired by other people, but don't let it mess you up.
Mm-hmm. Like that is why a lot of people say like, oh no, I can't even draw. Can't even draw a stick figure. Like, bro, everyone can draw. Just pick up a pencil.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
See, that's
Like
kind of where my mentality is, but I gotta I got a digital drawing pad for Christmas, and the only reason I haven't started trying is because the art program literally won't install. The installer is broken. And Corel, if you're listening to this, fuck you.
Wait, no, Gio, we want the sponsor.
Yeah, Jesus.
We need a sponsor. Jesus, Gio.
I don't want their sponsorship if their shit doesn't work. I'm so
True,
upset. I'm so upset. Anyway,
Did
I-
you talk to them?
I did, and
Like,
I got run around for 2 weeks.
Oh, all right.
Anyway,
And also, this field of art, you need to be very passionate if you want to improve your art style. Because for me, I'm always trying to find a way to improve my art. Or maybe a different eye over here, or trying to do like different perspectives and stuff like that. I I even somehow managed to draw hands for the first time.
you're like,
I
this
was
is
like,
magic.
I reached peak performance.
No one can stop me now.
Except feet. I can't draw feet. That is why I draw everyone with boots.
Oh,
I can't give them sandals.
I hate drawing hands. It's the worst.
Yeah, it was at first, but I found a way that I might do a tutorial if I find a way to make a recording.
So, I gotta say, to all the artists out there, draw hands and feet in your own. Just draw your own stuff.
My recommendation is draw circles for hands, mittens.
It looks
In
like the
fact,
equivalent of a medieval halberd. Screw it. That's my
Mm. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Cool. All right, Kelly. What about you?
Um, I would say like I don't know. It's hard to. So I mean, recently, I um got in contact with I submitted a collection of my poems to a publisher.
It's the National Geographic.
No, National Geographic doesn't publish poetry, Walter.
New York's bestseller.
Hi, no, I got in contact with the publisher and I submitted my collection to them, and I knew like going into it, um, they were a really exclusive publisher and that they're very small. They only publish certain things and they have a pretty unique style. And while I kind of fit all their criteria, it was kind of a long shot anyway. And they actually wrote back and they said, you know, thanks but no thanks, but here's why. And they said they were like, well, we don't particularly the diarist style isn't in our repertoire really, and diarist meaning like diary, day in the life kind of thing.
They said
Bowery.
basically they just said it was garbage.
Well, they said it was like
Say it would be like
they
garbage.
didn't say
You're not
it was
looking for your
garbage. They said like
It's like the equivalent to like
this
you
is
being a hip hop artist applying to a country album. And it's
yeah.
like, buddy, we're
And
not looking for
but
country
except
artists.
that like they didn't really have a defined style on their website, so I was like, well, you never said that you didn't do that, but all right. And also like diarist authors are very popular. Like you could technically classify Mary Oliver, who's one of the most famous poets ever, as a
Never heard of her.
well, that's I read a lot of poetry. But like Mary Oliver is a very well-known poet, and she, as poets go, and she is very, very day in the life. You could make that argument, but um, after that, I was like, oh my god, like no one wants to read about my life, and I think like and so I was like, but I don't know how to write anything that's not my life because I haven't experienced anything that's not my life. And so, like, I think for me, the struggle is finding a balance between putting too too much and too little of myself in my writing. Uh, like for poetry, I don't care anymore. Like that was tough to hear, but also it's not necessarily a criticism saying that I shouldn't do it. And I think one of the biggest things that people shouldn't worry about is like people's criticism of your writing is not necessarily that you should change it. It's like this is what they read it as, and if they don't like it, they won't read it. But like just because they criticize it doesn't mean you have to change it. Like I did with this story that I'm currently writing. I wrote the main character as unlike me physically as possible. But she definitely has some of my personality in her because I don't know how to write anything else. So like like that was something I really was nervous about with Wild West is like I kind of felt like all the characters sounded the same to me. Like they didn't have distinct personalities. And people told me that they did.
That was the best part. Like
But
every
like I
character.
can't when I read back Wild West to myself, they all sound the same. They all sound like
I mean, the good thing about art is like you put little bits of your
yes,
soul into the
exactly.
characters.
Oh yeah, there
Exactly.
will be
And
a
like
little bit of
that's
you.
it's and also I think people put too much focus on like especially in the American education system, people are like I'm not advocating plagiarism. I just want to say this before I say this. But people think that everything has to be unique. Every single
Oh,
thing has to be unique. You
it's
have to make it exactly you
impossible at this time.
that's not possible.
I don't even.
You can't like I think people have such a fear of it's already been done. Like I write I don't want to be Hemingway
Mhm.
because he was a horrible man, but I Hemingway's writing is a big influence for me. Mary Oliver's writing is a big influence for me. To say that I take elements of their writing and incorporate it into my own style is completely accurate. Like I think don't yeah, I would say take every criticism as something that you have to change. Don't feel like you have to change yourself just to please people who don't like your writing anyway. And also, yeah, so what if it's already been done? Like y- maybe you can do it differently and you can do it better. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with something having already been done. I've read the same like I have so many of what are technically the same novel. Like not every historical romance has already been done. Like let's be honest,
Mhm.
but people keep writing them. So,
I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
yeah, exactly. Like if you can do it, do it. I don't see a reason why you shouldn't.
I think
This
that's
is
Anyway.
why I believe
very,
Venom
very
is the
solid
best
advice.
rom com to this day.
I mean,
Like an example, Glee has already been done and now there is a TV show called High School Musical the series. That's Glee.
Wait, it's actually called that.
It's literally called High School Musical: the musical: the series.
That is the most
It is
incredible thing I've
about
heard.
it is a TV show about teenagers who sing in high school. That's Glee.
I, I mean, didn't High
Uh,
School Musical come? Question mark.
yeah,
Yes, but High School
right.
Musical was a movie.
Yes. So a TV series
Is
is
Glee.
yes, the
Thank
TV
you.
series is
But it's a very popular TV show. And that was a good point because High School Musical kind of did the singing in high thing and like being a misfit, not fitting like, like theater kids don't fit in. Like that was kind of the like thing they were working against. And that's what Glee did too. And like that Glee is the TV show of High School Musical essentially without the weird like Troy Bolton romance thing. But like they they did it and both were extremely successful. So, I don't know. Anyway,
Hey,
Walter.
Alright, so
He
You're
Just
wasn't
like,
up.
I'm
paying
done.
attention.
You're like, I'm done.
brain logging off. So every day, like struggles and do's and don'ts.
Yes.
I would say, and this is like struggles for me, right? My personal
Yes.
struggles with it
Yeah.
would definitely like burnout.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why.
Definitely.
There's days where like, yeah, sure, I will make a track 3 a.m. No reason at all, and then maybe I'll go a solid week with just like I don't know what to make. I don't know the song. The song sucks, so I throw it into the folder that will never be opened again. It
Yeah.
usually gets opened a year later. Um,
Me with my sketchbook.
throws it across the room. Throws my whole computer across the room. Hate it. No, but yeah, definitely like that. It also just kind of like what you guys say is just like when you see others work sometimes, and in a way puts you down. Like for me, I find like actually like this is definitely like I find Kanye West to be one of the most like talented producers of like this generation,
Mm.
like hands down. And just listening to his stuff, it gets it does get me in a mood sometimes where like, I want to do that too, I would love to do that. But at the same time, it's like, I can't do that. What the heck? I'm trash.
Yeah.
And it has to be a state of myself being like, yo, well, chill out, bro.
Has
You don't
anyone
have
ever
to be that good.
has anyone ever told you, "Oh, this sounds like a remix of this and that"?
Um, yes, no.
Like the beat sounds so familiar to something already known that they automatically
Um,
think it's a remix.
yeah, I think of that once, but at the same time, it's like especially with the like we'll go back into genre. To the music I make, I do a lot of sample work, and that's the one issue is that at the end of the day, like hip hop, lo-fi, and in itself was created from sampling. Like, if you look to the
Yeah.
history of it, legit came from DJs taking records that they were doing, looping them, and throwing another that was just drum beat on top of
Well,
it. That
isn't
was
oh my god, what is it called? The song that where the term hip hop originated.
hip hop. That's not
Uh,
even
Rapper's
it.
Delight.
Rapper's
The
delight.
song Rapper's Delight is the sample. It's somebody rapping over the band Chic's Good Time.
I think so. Like I
Yeah.
know. Like I
I
think
don't know how I know that, but
Apache, that one hip hop song, Apache, like jump on it.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
that drum beat is taken from a disco song from I think a song called Apache. Like, and it was just like that. Whoever made it really liked that beat.
Yeah.
Just used this, and that's where it is. So, like, as a suggestion to artists of my area who's doing that, you will probably get some flack from other people saying, "Oh, Lofa has no style. You got like 3 tracks. It's like blah blah." It's like, well, first of all, screw you guys for being some Debbie Downers. But secondly, it's your style. For some people, like I've met some artists who cannot make lo-fi for the life of them. It's quite simple, but like too simple to the point where like for me, I find it quite easy and I have fun making it because I enjoy chill music. But for some artists, it's just like it's a different breed from it. It's just them. Like for me, I like to make some certain styles, but I just don't have that knack for it. And maybe with enough practice, sure, I can do. But there's some stuff that I'd rather not touch because it's not what I feel I'm, you know, really good at or like made. Which shouldn't stop anybody trying.
Yeah, that's fair.
If you smell what I'm stepping.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Oh, I got you, bro.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
That was very insightful.
Do's
I think
and
the
don'ts.
big takeaway is if you have trouble writing, try your other hand. I think that's the big takeaway here.
That's really philosophical of you, Gio.
Oh, yeah. We were doing do's and don'ts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot one more doing.
Okay.
I looked down at it and I didn't say it. I would say this as a producer. take everything I say with a grain of salt. But if you ever have a moment where you make a track and you're not proud of it because it doesn't have enough tracks in there, just ignore it. Some of my like greatest songs, I would say personally that I'm proud don't have a lot of tracks in there. Like my old boss, who was he wrote for things like Star Wars, Star Trek, and he was like in the sub credits where he told me like, oh yeah, when I was doing this one for Star Trek, I had a 236 track.
Oh.
That's a lot of tracks for one song. And he's like, yeah, but that's what you need. Don't let that deter you. You not need to have that many. Some of the best
Yeah.
songs come with brief tracks on. Just have fun with what you're making, you know, and don't let others mess you up. Definitely show your work, see if it sounds good. Not everyone's gonna like what you do, but always get opinion. Stuff that the haters get you down.
Yeah.
I think we can all take from that.
Yeah.
Walter Isaac, haters get you down.
Walter for president.
Please don't vote for me. I'll be a bad president.
Okay, well,
Okay.
we're just at about time, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna say thank you all for the discussion. Thank you for hanging out. It was a great time.
Mm-hmm.
Yee.
We still haven't figured out how to effectively close out the show, so this
Oh, I
has
mean,
been
do you want me to?
sure you can do
Oh.
whatever you want.
Okay. Okay. So, you can find us on YouTube, which is probably where you're watching this. And then, um, you can also, can people find us on Anchor?
Yeah,
Or
so
not on Anchor, but
Anchor is current.
okay. Okay. So we've set up our Anchor. We can put that link in the description. Walter is once again Awa Beats. On apparently every sound medium available to mankind. What are your top two, Walter?
Top two.
Spotify and SoundCloud?
Uh, Spotify? No, don't use
It's
SoundCloud.
loud.
It's so out of date. It is so out of date. Use Spotify, and then secondly, iTunes and Apple,
Okay.
Android or iPhone.
Okay. And Edward. Are you Ed or Edward?
Edward.
Out of both.
Okay. Wasn't there a show, Ed, Edward, and Eddie?
Ed, Ed, and Eddie.
Oh
You
my,
would not-
my
Ed, Ed, and Eddie?
sweet dear. Oh
You
my
would not
sweet
believe.
dear.
Okay, I want the audience to know. Somehow
Uh,
Kelly messed up. She is like we're the same age, and I watched that show.
Yeah, I didn't have cable. Please
Me
leave me
neither.
alone. Oh, okay. Well, then.
Everyone said
I had this
like,
thing called Able.
could I call you Ed, Eddie, or Double D?
Oh. Okay, I was. Oh, sorry. And where can people find you on your Instagram? Pixelx is your Instagram.
Yep.
Right?
Pixelx with a instead of an E, it's a 3, and also Twitter, Pixel 1.
Those will be linked.
Yeah.
And his tag should be in the video in editing. So that should be easy enough
you
to
can
find.
Find Geo's comedic genius at G10 Gaming on
Why do you
YouTube.
guys lie?
Okay,
Bold-faced
look,
lies.
Look, okay, hold on,
So
hold on. As I've stated before, Gio and I are actually Gio and Walter and I actually do know each other in real life, and Gio and I are best friends in real life, and we Gio is genuinely a very funny person. And some of the older videos, like Overwatch videos, they're really hysterically funny. Like I used to just watch, I would put them on while I was cleaning my room, and I would just watch them. Like I highly recommend if you're having a bad day, watch a G10 gaming video from 2017.
I mean, they're still there.
The ones that you've made recently are really funny too.
The only
those ones
things
stick
that are
in my
not
mind is
available anymore is my Andromeda playthrough because it was trash.
yeah.
Because Andromeda is trash, and
Wow.
a couple of those 30-second clip videos that are just private
Yeah.
that I upload because I have nowhere else to put them. Like the Capcan video of Capcan traps making the noise that they make.
Oh yes, that's right.
Yeah, just want to make sure that you're aware that
Heads
they
up, everybody! Capcan traps actually emit a very faint noise that I did not know, and Alec and I did not believe Gio when he said that, and he had to actually record a clip, upload it to YouTube, make it like an unlisted link, and send it to us so that he could prove to us that Capcan traps make a video from
and
his
you were
listening
wrong.
stage. Anyway, and I was wrong, and I admit that, and they make a very faint noise. Anyway, so yeah, you can find Gio at G10 Gaming. You can find my writing at asignificantother.wordpress.com or on my Tumblr, which is badgerpride96. Um, I recommend Tumblr because it doesn't have ads if you have ad blocker, whereas WordPress does. I'm currently looking at a different medium until I can make enough money to pay for my website, so that people don't have to deal with ads, but that's beside the point. And you can find Content Creators Haven at our website, www.contentcreatorshaven.com, on our YouTube, which is what you're on right now, probably, or our Anchor. We are Content Creators Haven on Facebook and Instagram. I believe we're just Creators Haven on Twitter. Um, did I miss? Oh, if you would like to help support us, you can go to our Patreon, which we are also Content Creators Haven on. We would really appreciate it. You can check us out there.
Keeps the
We
lights
don't really
on.
have any perks or anything at the time,
Keeps the lights
but
on.
hopefully it will be. But eventually it will be helping to fund things like prizes for tournaments, prizes for competitions like art competitions, writing competitions, things like that. So yeah, if you're feeling flush, go give us $1 or $2 a month. It would really help us out. And yeah, thank you so much for listening. This has been CCTV with me, Kelly, Gio, Walter, and Pixel. And we will catch you guys next time. Thank you.
Oh,
Bye.
yeah. Oh wait, before we go, one more thing.
Walter,
Hit that bell
Nope,
and
video's already over.
subscribe.
damn
Oh.
it.
Subscribe and hit the
Oh,
bell.
yeah, like and subscribe.
Just smash it.
Smash that like
That
button.
like
And the video's over.